First, I'd like to thank Chair DeGette and Ranking Member Griffith for having this hearing today. Chair, I'd like to quickly respond to Mr. Tonko to correct the record. My good friend repeated a claim that the Biden administration has made, but it's very misleading. They are claiming that oil production under President Biden is up, but they are only comparing it to the first year of the Trump presidency. Here's the truth. According to EIA data, U.S. oil production has declined by over 1.5 million barrels per day from the peak production of 13 million barrels per day in 2020. President Biden also imposed a moratorium on fossil energy development on federal lands and waters, and he stifled U.S. energy production through bureaucratic delays. Clearly, the Biden administration is creating a regulatory environment that is hurting Americans' ability to produce oil and gas domestically. What we've seen in the last several months has been an energy crisis, unfortunately, of our own making. We have finally learned what many of my colleagues and I have been saying repeatedly in this committee, that the only way to guarantee reliable and affordable energy for the American people is to utilize the resources under the feet of my constituents. Instead, the Biden administration has given into environmental groups and left our country beholden to foreign autocrats and oil cartels. This is not what America needs. In my home state of Pennsylvania, we have the resources required to power our nation and get back to energy dominance. But for now, that potential is locked underground, and my constituents are left paying higher and higher prices to fill their gas tanks. We need to stop talking about how to attack the energy industry, and we need to start focusing on how to stimulate domestic production. We need a positive energy policy instead of a punitive energy policy. Many of these companies before us have invested billions in research and development that have directly benefited Americans' consumers. Several have made large investments in Pennsylvania that have not only spurred domestic production, but provide thousands of family-sustaining jobs in the communities that I represent. This is the answer on how we bring gas prices down. The solution to our energy crisis cannot be found in Saudi Arabia, but rather in Somerset County, Pennsylvania, in Bedford County, Pennsylvania, in Cambria County, Pennsylvania. Enabling production here at home is the only way to give Americans the economic future that they deserve. My first question, a great example in my home state of the type of long-term development that we need is the Shell Pennsylvania Petrochemicals Complex. It has brought thousands of construction jobs and hundreds of permanent jobs to the region. I've been to this plant. I stood with the pipe fitters, the electricians, and the plumbers, working Pennsylvanians. Ms. Watkins, can you give us some of the impacts of Shell's investments in Pennsylvania?
Yes, thank you, Congressman. This is a huge infrastructure project that we've been investing in for the last few years. In fact, it's the biggest infrastructure project in the country. At its peak, it employed 7,500 construction workers, and we're in the process of commissioning this plant this year. We'll have 600 permanent jobs in Beaver County, Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh. It's a polyethylene plant that's built on the site of an old zinc smelter, and so we're actually very proud community members and proud that we've been able to go back into a community that industry had left and actually really revitalize that by creating jobs and creating products that will be vital to the energy transition.
My time is limited, and I thank you for that vitality that you're infusing into Pennsylvania. Mr. Woods, ExxonMobil is another company that has invested in the shale gas fields of Pennsylvania. At present, a lack of pipeline and LNG capacity is hampering our ability to respond to global energy price spikes and support our friends, our allies in Europe. How can the federal government work with this energy sector to ensure the necessary energy infrastructure is there to facilitate the growth that we need?
Well, thank you, Congressman. You've touched on a really important part of the equation with respect to building out the U.S. Oil and gas business, which is infrastructure and the ability to take what we produce and get it to market efficiently and effectively. And one of the big challenges we face today is the permitting process for pipelines. And then beyond that, the legal challenges that come from a number of interest groups. And so both of those need to be addressed if we're going to efficiently and effectively build pipelines that connect resources with demand.
Madam Chair, my time has
Thank the
expired. I
gentleman.
yield.
Gentleman